Hello YouTube, this is Team Valhalla here with Anthony's deck profile of Bujin's. This is what he ran at the regional a couple weeks ago, actually last weekend. And let's get started. So first we have monsters.
At first, I run 3 Yamatos.
Why?
They are the main engine of the deck. I mean, you can't run the deck without Yamatos. Because if you guys don't know Bujin's, Yamato's effect activates during the end phase, to where I'm able to add a Bujin monster from my deck to my hand, and then I'm able to discard a card from my hand to the graveyard. Some of the other Bujin monsters I'll show you, some of them run in the hand, some of them run in the grave, so you want to make sure that you can cycle them as best you can.
Okay.
Next I run 3 Bujin Cranes.
What does Crane do?
Bujin Crane, what it is similar to Honest Effect, but it requires a Bujin Beast Warrior to be face up on the field. And then during the damage step, I can discard Crane from hand to the graveyard, and doubles the original attack points of that Bujin Beast Warrior that I have face up on the field.
So it is only original?
Yes, it is only original, and I have to have a Bujin Beast Warrior on the field for it to use this effect, so
now,
I can't target another one.
So if Yamato's on the field, can you use it to target like Turtle or something, or can it only be a Bujin Beast Warrior?
It has to be the Bujin Beast Warrior.
Okay.
Next, I run my personal favorite monster, Bujin Turtle, at 2. Some Bujin players play it at 3. I used to play it at 3, but I see why a lot of people run it at 2. You don't need to run it at 3. It gives that extra space that you will need for other cards.
Okay, what does he do?
Bujin Turtle, what his effect is, if he is in the grave and any of my Bujin monsters are targeted for an effect, I can banish him from the grave to negate the activation of that card.
Okay.
Next, I run 2 Bujin Quillins.
Okay.
Bujin Quillin, similar to Turtle, has to be in the grave for it to use its effect. But if I control a Bujin Beast Warrior face up on my side of the field, I can banish Quillin from my grave to destroy 1 face up card on the field.
Okay.
Again, I only run them at 2, some run it at 3, but I like to have that extra space. I've been battling between this one, but I run Brotherhood of the Fire Fist Bear at 1. I have seen him at 2. I used to play him at 2, but he's just too cloggy. I really just kind of use him to search for Tenki if I really need to. Also, you know, while Tenkis are just sitting there, I can use him for his effect to get rid of those Tenkis so I can clear up some space. Especially since the new Bujin Exceed is not out yet. He's really not that great in this deck for any other reason besides searching for Tenkis and getting rid of Tenkis. I also run an Honest, of course, because, you know, run a bunch of lights, you gotta have an Honest in hand.
Is the deck only light monsters?
Besides Bear, yes.
Okay.
Then I run 2 Effect Veilers. Just to have those more light monsters, and for, you know, there was a lot of things that have been activating effects. I mainly ran it at the regional. I'm expecting to face a lot of spellcasters and Fire Fist guys. So, you know, they try to go to activate their effects. I can just discard Veiler, and I won't have to worry about the surges from spellcasters or the popping of Fire Fist.
So just a Veiler effects.
Pretty much, yeah. That's it for monsters. On to the magics. I run 2 Fire Formation Tenkis.
Too bad it's at 2. I wish it was at 3.
Right, I really wish it was at 3 as well. Run them because, of course, you know, I run the Beast Warrior Yamato. I gotta get him in my hand as fast as possible.
Okay.
Next, I run 2 Bujin Carnations.
So just a quick question. Why not run Tensus? Why not run Tensu at 1?
I can't, as of right now, Tensus are not good in the deck, mainly because Yamato's final effect is you can only control 1 face-up Yamato. And the only other time Tensu would be valid is if I did have Bear in hand.
Okay.
But there was never a point where I actually had Yamato on the field or in my hand with Bear. Mm-hmm. So Tensu is kind of just a dead draw at that point.
Okay.
Bujin Carnation saved me a lot of times. What it does is that if my opponent controls a monster and I don't, I can use Bujin Carnation to special summon one Bujin monster from my graveyard and one Bujin monster from my banish zone. Then those monsters can only be used for the Exceed summon of a Beast Warrior, Beast, or a Winged Beast type monster. So I mean, it's kind of like, since, you know, Monster Reborn got banned, it's kind of like my Monster Reborn of the deck. And a lot of times I top deck into this thing and it saved me all the time because I'll be able to go into the Bujin Exceed Susano that I'll show you later. Or I was able to go into, what's his name? Can't remember his name at the moment. But it's for just those, you know, quick exceeds that you need when you got nothing. Next I run 2 Pod Dualities. Run Pod Duality at 2. I mean, people say, hey, run it at 3. There's no downside. I mean, yeah, you're right. Run it at 3 for the consistency. But I feel like at 2, 1, I mean, it's not, I can have that third space for something else. Oh, sorry, totally just blanking right now. Sorry, guys. But basically, it's just, I like it at 2 for the fact of anytime I go to Pod Duality, I want the option to have the exceeds later on. Whereas, you know, if I'm constantly drawing a Pod Duality, you know, there's the effect, you know, that I can't actually special summon.
So it just gets clogged.
Yeah. Next, I run 3 Forbidden Lances. Forbidden Lances, the main reason why I run them is because Bujin Yamato being the only Beast Warrior right now, I run them because I want him as protected as possible. I want Yamato, as soon as he hits the field, I want to keep him on the field, so Lances are protecting him from all those pesky traps that people kept running, especially like Bottomless or Compulse and stuff like that, so I can keep him to the end phase. Next, I ran 2 Forbidden Dresses. I'm probably going to take these out, mainly because, you know, I thought I'd be able to utilize them a lot more. But because, you know, the fact that if your guy's already targeted, you can't use Dress to stop that. It really only came down to a point of where, you know, someone would Mirror Force me, and I'd just be Dressed just for the, you know, preventing the destruction. Next, I run 3 MSTs. I just like MSTs at 3. I mean, I considered sideboarding one of them, but I mean, just the fact that Heavy Storm got banned, I want to make sure that nothing's going to stop me for when any of my Bujin monsters want to attack. I then run 1 Foolish Burial and 1 Dark Hole. Run Dark Hole, staple, and Foolish Burial because, you know, Yamato, I can ditch, I can send Quillen and just be pop, or I can send Turtle to make sure in case you try to bounce him or something like that, I can negate the targeting. Onto traps, I run 2 Vanity's Emptiness. Key card, I loved preventing a lot of people from special summoning and stuff like that. A lot of my cards, you know, if I just needed Vanity's gone, you know, I just go Foolish or go MST. Boom, Vanity's going with it. I'll be able to special summon if need be. But just really, it helped prevent a lot of players from doing their combos that they needed to. Phoenix Chain. Just Phoenix Chain, being able to negate. I really liked it in Dragons. I know a lot of people are like, well, why would you like it in Dragons? I actually liked it just for the Dragons themselves. Because, you know, they would be like, oh, you know, I summon Blaster, attack with Blaster, I'd be like Phoenix Chain. Because next turn, usually, I'd be able to pop him or something like that. And then he's in the graveyard. So that way he'll have to use Blaster for materials. I know he can special summon him from the grave, but I don't know. I liked the Dragons more in the grave than I did in the hand. Then I run 2 Horn of the Phantom Beast. Horn of the Phantom Beast, a lot of Bujin players don't actually run. I really don't know why. I like it just for the fact of Yamato gains 800 attack points, keeps them on the field. I get the draw card. I can target Quillen and Turtle, which then become beat sticks besides Yamato. And then the fact of me just drawing cards is always a plus. Then 1 Dimensional Prison, 1 Mirror Force, 1 Call the Haunted, 1 Bottomless, and 1 Compulse to round up the traps.
Okay.
Why not run more of Call the Haunted?
I did run more Call the Haunteds. I actually at one point had them at 3. At 3 I was able to draw them, but then, I was just like, okay, I bring out Yamato. People would MST it, or they get rid of it. Since I started running Bujin Carnation at 2, I didn't need to run more of the Call the Haunteds, because it brought it back, but it was just so much easier to not focus so much on Yamato than I already do. Whereas Call the Haunted would be that extra focus more on Yamato, whereas Turtle came in just good at handy, even though its effect is only good in the grave. It still being 1700, got over a lot of things, especially against Fire Fist. Turtle, I just kept on attacking over every Fire Fist monster he had.
Okay, so let's move on to extra deck.
Extra deck, I run 3 Bujin Susanos. Bujin Susanoo is the main exceed of the Bujins. It requires 2 level 4 Bujin monsters. His first effect is that Bujin Susanoo has the ability to attack everything on my opponent's side of the field at least once. So it was really useful against a Constellar match that I faced during the regional. I was able to stop his Sombre and his Koss with a Flying Sea, and then with Susanoo, I was able to wipe out all 3 of them. And because of Crane, I was able to power him up to 48 to deal that extra damage I need. His actual detaching effect is I can detach 1 to send to the graveyard to either add a Bujin monster to hand or send 1. So I was able to fill it up with a Quillen or a Turtle, or add Crane to hand so I can power him up. Next, I ran 2 Constellar Omegas. Just because I ran so many lights, Constellar Omega is just that when my opponent's running lots and lots of traps, I'll be able to not worry about him so much, since Constellar Omega can protect against magic and traps by detaching 1. I run 2 Star Leech Paladinos. I pronounced that way wrong. Again, just because there was a lot of light monsters, and I love his effect, the fact that, detach both of them. Not only can I negate my opponent, but his monster drops to 0. And if Starleech is still destroyed by battle after that, I get to draw a card. Starleech actually got over a lot of things like Drago Sack, or what was it? The High Priestess. I also ran a Diagusto Emerald. So that way, if my Yamatos were all in the graveyard, I'd be able to do Quillen and Crane or something like that, overlay, do Diagusto Emerald, return my 3 Yamatos, and then draw a card, which typically I'd draw straight into Yamato, and I'd be able to play him next turn. I also ran number 50 Blackcorn Ship. Didn't get to use him during the regional. I really wish I could have. 1 Utopia. 1 Maestroke. 1 Cowboy. 1 Photon Papal Operative.
Pappy.
And then 1 Gem Knight Pearl. Just because he's that 26 and he actually got over a lot of different monsters. And then because I ran an Effect Veiler, I just filled in Ally Justice Cataster.
Okay. So let's see what you sided.
What I sided was 2 Tuner Schemes. Great card. I'm so glad that our team leader showed it to us. This thing was fantastic against different decks, like when I faced a Dragon Plant variation. Just because Tuner Scheme is able to take that Synchro, So I was prepared for any synchro player. I know that when I was facing a Dragundi player at our locals, he got really mad when I was able to use Tuner's game. Run 2 trap stuns. Run 2 trap stuns. I prefer trap stun over Royal Decree just for the fact of I do run quite a bit of traps, and I just like the fact of stunning more than completely stopping. A lot of people kind of expect that Royal Decree to stay on the field and negates traps throughout the entire game until it's gotten rid of. Trap stun's that quick, like, oh, I'm gonna, call the Haunted, or I'm gonna Mirror Force you, and I'm just like, trap stun. Sorry, man.
Well, it's a card to protect you and a card that when you're going to push for game, you activate that trap stun and get it off. Just good game.
Yeah. 2 summon limits. Just in case I face a lot of Evil Swarm players or Constellar players, I didn't want them summoning too much and going crazy. I only faced 1 Constellar player. I didn't face any Evil Swarm players, which was surprising considering the regional was just filled with Dragon and Evil Swarm players.
I faced 2.
I run 2 Kaiser Colosseums. Amazing card in this deck just because I usually only had like 1 monster on the field. Kaiser Colosseum's effect is that for the amount of monsters that I control, my opponent can only control that many.
So why double up on Kaiser Colosseum and Summon Limit?
Because they both have their ups and downs. Kaiser Colosseum, you can summon as many times as you want. Say that, I get rid of a monster or you tribute it or something like that. Summon Limit just says you can only summon twice.
Okay.
So it's for different scenarios.
Was there ever a time where you had Summon Limit on the field and Kaiser Colosseum at the field at the same time?
Yes, I did actually. It was during one of the Dragon games. I actually had Summon Limit and my Kaiser Colosseum.
You had a Vanity's Emptiness too at the same time just to piss him off, right?
Of course. Of course I had that.
Best back row ever.
My personal tech, Spell Shattering Arrow. This thing is just ridiculous. Not a lot of people know about it. It's just one of those fun tech cards. Spell Shattering Arrow destroys all face-up spell cards on my opponent's side of the field, and he takes 500 for each one. So I mainly did it against Fire Fist players, because, of course, Fire Fist players have Tenki or Tensu, or they have Goyoku face up on the field. So
I'll still beat your ass.
So not only am I getting rid of those, especially the Goyoku, but they're taking damage, but he really came in handy when I faced that weird Crystal Beast player, and I did 2,500 points of damage to him. I cited 1 extra Effect Veiler. 2 Fossil Dinos. Just for that extra kind of, it's a vanity monster. Also, if I were to flip him, I destroy all special summon monsters. Everyone that I sided against using this never saw it coming. They're just thinking it's a face down Quillen or a Crane or something like that, and they attack right over it and their field is gone. And then 2 Flying Seas. Like, some people like it, some people don't. I mean, just the fact that
It's just funny.
I know that a lot of people are synchro summoning, that's why I have the tuner scheme, but just in case you're one of those big players that love to exceed, I'm just like Flying Sea. No, you're not doing that. And it buys me an extra turn, and then usually by the next turn I draw the card that I need, and I'm just able to go off. Also with Flying Sea, I like to keep that out for Bujin Carnation. That saved me too because, all they had was a Flying Sea left because they couldn't do anything. So I was just like, Bujin Carnation, because you have a monster, I was able to get my 2 monsters out and just get over it real quick.
So how many cards are in your deck? Is it a 40, 41, 42?
It is a 41 exact deck.
Okay. All right. Well, that is the Bujin profile for this week. Gonna quick flip through so you guys can check that out. That foolish though.
No better way than to run it secret, right?
Yeah. Except those potted dualities and those Tenkis.
I mean, I could have gotten it, but unfortunately our leader decided to trade off our other 2.
I pulled 4.
Ulti.
I pulled 4 of them in 8 Astro Packs. I am happy. So you can deal with it. Well, that was our Bujin deck profile. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, guys.
Bye, guys.